Though we analysed a range of short films, we concentrated on the comedy genre, specifically on romantic comedy. Late Bloomer. The audience are positioned to sympathise with the protagonist of the piece through the use of the first-person narrative, as technically speaking puts us in his shoes and we see the mise-en-scène through his eyes. The inconsistency of the voice of the narrator and the physical stature of the boy might have been used to show passing of time and reminiscing of past events. The ominous voice describes the perspective of the protagonist from an outwardly point of view.
Its wingspan reached from one end of the room to the other, hovering above our heads as if it were about to pounce. Its chalk-scrawled claws looking ready to grab up an unsuspecting student and fly away.
What is that ungodly thing?
The music positions the audience alongside the protagonist to recognise the schoolteacher as a villain, just as with Prop's character types. However, she is used for comic purposes as well, with her explicit graphs on the female and male reproductive systems.
Repeat after me, children. This is the vagina.
The effective use of close-up and zooming in, Principal's office, brings a more sinister tone, making him the ultimate villain, whilst the schoolteacher is more of a helper which educates the protagonist or the prince on the evils of sexual awakening.
Struck. Star-studded cast from American TV shows such as Veronica Mars or My Name is Earl would attract their audience after seeing the name of their favorite actors in this brilliant story. The use of cutaways is very effective, with them disturbing the narrative convention of linear narrative, using ellipses and montages to show the passing of time. The song Over the Rainbow corresponds with the movie as it sets the tone of the scene. Natural lighting makes it realistic and grounded in everyday life. The film is identifiable as a romantic comedy, making use of Prop's character types, of the hero who weds the princess who is sought for during the narrative, and the donor who propels the hero on a quest. Struck is produced by TXL Films and 6to5 Productions, which are both independent film production companies. TXL Films aims to create beautiful, idea-driven films with a broad marketing appeal. The stereotypical representation of gender is that men are masculine and don't fall in love rapidly like women, who are prone to passionate expression.
Monsoons begin. I'm sorry. No, I was just kidding. Come back. Damn it.
Memrise. Memrise uses high quality of editing which keeps the audience at the edge of their seats. For a low-budget short film, they presumably spent it on post-production and VFX, which was a reasonable investment, which evolved as the narrative could easily be followed in the footsteps of I, Robot or Hitman, which seems to have similar inspirations, basis on a short story and a game. The props are very realistic, with advertising robot looking straight out of the Star Wars franchise. Aside from that, the guns and the scanning devices bring a sense of high-class reality, which might have a frightening effect on the audience. The complementary soundtrack shows how effective the use of music could be, with its loud, vibrant tones perfectly synchronized with the fast-paced editing, creating an ominous tone at the start. Minimal dialogue doesn't mean that the film will become uninteresting, which is proved right here, flooding the audience with other visual and audible effects with satisfying their cognitive needs of diversion and entertainment. The use of storytelling at the beginning of the film creates a matter of the fact information which should be known by the audience, and is a convention of a film based on real life stories which gives the film a sense of truth and reality.
Inbox. The film of Indian origin portrays how hard it is to find love anywhere in the world, no matter where you are from. The Bollywood music brings to mind the rhythm of Bollywood films, with elaborate dancing segments and costumes, however here it is downplayed. The use of slow motion to portray the character's inner happiness, accompanied by the dancing scene, would satisfy romantic comedy fans, who would expect some kind of embarrassment from one of the leads. The positioning of a beautiful woman and a geeky man is a stereotypical take on Beauty and the Beast, and has been mowed over by American and Europeans alike. Parallel editing allows the audience to follow both the protagonists and is accompanied by a montage of the man dressing up to impress the woman. Transitions are essential to suggest the passing of time. The tragedy of ripping the bag is exaggerated, with the audience asking Barf's hermeneutic and poetic code throughout, such as will they meet, how is the red bag working, and will he be able to fix it?
The Desk. The title is simplistic and revolves around the main event of the film. The Desk appeals to its audience of American teenagers, setting the action in a high school which they will be able to relate with the social cliques of jocks and cheerleaders. The preferred reading of the audience would be that the protagonist ultimately finds love, as we are positioned to sympathise with him by the use of the instrumental music. The film's narrative follows the linear structure, with the film starting at the beginning of action, following the action chronologically and finishing at a point of conclusion. The extended narrative's Todorov theory of equilibrium is subverted here, with the story beginning at a disruption of the boy's life coming to a new school, which is followed with a recognition of his loneliness. He carries out a communication with the use of the desk, which brings pair to the equilibrium. However, there is a return of disruption because he is unable to meet that person. The repair and the equilibrium are established when a new girl joins the school and seems to become friends with the boy.
Julie Mitchell? You want to have a seat?
The Ventriloquist. Kevin Spacey is definitely a big pulling power for this film, because he is an acclaimed actor who established himself in the industry. The idea of using a dummy and ventriloquism as the plotline is interesting, creative and unique, compared to common film themes. The continuity editing positions the audience to empathize with the character as he goes through the loneliness as a result of the dummy leaving him.
The Crush. Levi Strauss's conflict of binary opposites is used to create the main conflict of the film between the good versus evil in the form of a protagonist and the antagonist in the film of the boy Ardor, who has a crush on his school teacher, and her fiancé, who seems not to be in love with her.
Well, hello there. What can I do for you?
Don't mind Miss Purdy.
Credits superimposed on the screen is technique of portraying the end credits, but is often used as credits on a black screen.
When You Love Someone. The film has an adventure-themed storyline where the male character goes and takes a day out climbing while having flashbacks of his recent relationship. The audience are positioned to feel empathy for the male character due to the number of close-ups and medium shots with him in the center. This suggests isolation and loneliness. The film fulfills the different versions of audience entertainment and developing a personal relationship with the character. The film follows a non-linear narrative as it is intertwined with flashbacks and dream sequences. This gives an insight to the character's past. The film touches on different themes such as loss, regret, and passion between lovers. The ambiguous ending leaves the audience affected emotionally and allows them to interpret the ending for themselves.
Apricot. The soft focus in the opening creates a sense of memory. A smoky room in a bar creates a sense of intimacy between the two leads.
Did you have any boyfriends in high school?
The lighting is dark. The use of natural soft lamps create a sense of mystery and unresolved business.
And what else?
The narrative doesn't use a linear structure, as throughout the film, flashback memories are integrated into the storyline.
I remember he looked up all the time.
He could stare at the sun longer than anyone I've ever met.
Inspired by Christopher Nolan's Memento, with the male character using the notepad and the camera to capture memories.
He always carried a camera around his neck.
You like to take photos?
Just for the act of documenting what was happening to him, who we shared moments with, as if interactions with people were rare and out of the ordinary.
The binary opposites of light and dark are used here to portray the difference between the innocent childhood and the experienced adulthood.
Tell me about your first kiss.
The design of the opening titles and ending credits has a scratched-on effect font, which is purposely chosen to match the film.
Awake. The use of voiceovers to narrate the story gives the first-person perspective of the main character and positions the audience to sympathize with him. Continuity editing follows the linear narrative structure, which shows the passing of time and empathizes the boy's loneliness. The use of handheld cameras adds movement and tension towards the character. The sequence where the main character inserts a toy car into a fish tank and the car full of water create the hermeneutic codes which stimulate the audience's imagination and sustain their interest to watch till the end of the film and discover the answer to these questions. The use of newspaper articles give a sense of realism and truth.